So good evening and welcome to this session on art integration. I'm happy that before time we had 100 participants and I'm getting lots and lots of messages and calls already. I'm not touching my mobile to be fair to the participants who have joined before time actually. So it is not their fault because our meeting is getting full very fast. So it's my humble effort just to make some things clear, especially due to the change of the circular that has come in, the change of that, right? So on this note, let me start without wasting time, right? So first thing that we have to understand is the art integration needs to be introduced at 3 levels. Okay, so most people are getting confused about these words: multidisciplinary approach, subject specific, which has to be done in 9, and art integrated learning. There are 3 separate things. I mean, so most people are confused about this, and therefore the first important thing is to understand what is the difference between the 3. Now, please remember, up to class 8 is a multidisciplinary approach. That means you're not going to give any project subject-wise. It has to be one project in which we integrate the art form. It would be dance, music, clay modeling or paper mache, any form that you are able to integrate with that, and it has to be integrated with one topic. Now, how do we integrate with one topic? I'll be explaining to you gradually, but let's understand there's only one project up to class 8, and you have to bring in your maths, Hindi, whichever languages, your math, science, social science into that. Okay, so that's the multidisciplinary approach. Then subject specific is only for class 9 and 10. I am talking about the project. The project in 9 and 10 is subject specific, and you know that the admit cards of class 10 are only given to schools which upload this, right? That they have done this, and they are saying that they have to fill those documents on the portal. The Kala Setu portal opens 1 month before the admit card release, and we are supposed to start uploading on the Kala Setu portal. You are already aware of that. And 1 to 12 is art integrated learning. It's not a project. Art integrated learning is something which the teacher is using to teach the students. Art integrated project is something which the student is, with the help of the teacher in groups. They are divided into groups and they're submitting this project. It's something which is physical. Art integrated learning is something which may happen in your classes when you are introducing a lesson. That is art integrated learning. So actually, if you analyze it properly, it's art integrated teaching. So what is the art form that you are using to teach your students? That is art integrated learning. Are you teaching them through some songs or through some drama, or is it some discussion, or is it PowerPoint or role play or dramatics? All those options are art integrated learning. Okay, so we are going to discuss this in detail now, right? So the next part, after understanding this 3, comes the methodology. The first thing is that we should take up topics which we are already teaching in the class. Don't take up topics which is very random and which students cannot relate to, right? The reason being that you are teaching some topic and then you are giving a project on something, they are wasting actually time. In terms of the curriculum, they are wasting time. It's not, nothing is a waste of time. It's after all knowledge. But the rule says, the protocol is that as far as possible, try to integrate what you're teaching so that the practical dimensions comes. So CBSE is slowly, gradually moving from the theory, rote learning, memorization aspect to practical aspects. Now, if this pairing of states would not have done, we would have never known about the lesser known states or the union territories. Now, this time I'm from Delhi. So Delhi has been paired with Lakshadweep and Andaman, and we are learning so much about their culture, which would not have been otherwise. 90% of the people would not know about. In the previous years, we were paired with Sikkim. And so as you as educators were paired with some state, and you came to know about so much from their culture, and you integrated that in your teaching methodology. So as far as possible, try to integrate that. It is important that we are going to integrate that, right? So it's otherwise what is going to happen is that we are going to teach something and then the students will have no connection with the project. So it's important. So what is the objective of the art integrated learning? Now, first of all, let's understand that it is AIL, art integrated learning, is a journey. It's not a destination. Okay, by the end of the year this happens. It's a continuous thing from class 1 to 12, continuously. So if you look at some of the curriculums like International Baccalaureate, that is IB board, there is a lot of practical activities. Here we are studying, okay, mix potassium with sulfuric acid and fumes come out. But there is no demonstration. Only in 11th and 12th, we are actually taking them to the lab and showing that this happens. Otherwise, there is a footnote in the textbook that this happens. So what is happening with the NEP is that slowly and gradually, the process from rote learning is gradually coming into actual practicals. So it has to be a journey. It should help all the children from different backgrounds to communicate, interact, and build healthy relationships. So if there are some festivals, if there are, you are celebrating health day, sports day, maths day, science day, whatever it is, try to integrate all these cultures that of the paired state in that. The local art and craft, you can involve a lot of people in this. Not only that you are, that is why they say involve your art and craft teacher for ideas, or you could involve some parents. And by now, I think you are also experienced because of the experiential learning that we have been focusing on in the past 2-3 years. Our methodology of teaching has changed in the past 2-3 years. I hope you agree that from offline, we went suddenly to online during the COVID times. And that itself was such a learning. We learned how to prepare PowerPoints. We learned so many methods by which we could make our classes interesting, right? So the objective is basically that every child should participate. Normally, what happens in our classes is that, you know, they're out of 40 students, 10 people are always raising the hands. Sir, ma'am, and they are answering. That's all. The rest 30 are sitting down. Either they are not interested, or they don't know the answer, or they don't want to participate. Okay, so that is what is happening. But with the art integrated learning, what is happening? You are introducing multiple intelligence actually. So somebody is good in art, somebody is good in dance, somebody is good in speaking, somebody is good in writing. So there are different methods by which the kids can participate. So therefore, it is important that we are involving them in various forms of art. So they can express, give them the freedom to choose how they want to produce that product. Okay, the project can be submitted in multiple forms. So give them that, give them the idea that this has to be done. Let them give them the idea that this is the aim, this is the objective, this should be the learning outcomes, and rest of the things the child should come out from their own thing. So we are learning more about our national and cultural heritage. And obviously, we are going to, with all these activities, especially in maths and science, we are building their scientific temper, right? And that's the basic objective of this art. And so therefore, if I take the circular of CBSE, it says that every school, it is mandatory, it is not an option. Okay, previous years, there were some schools who said that we don't know about all this. There was no excuse. Ignorance is not bliss, unfortunately. Okay, some people are sick, you know, feigning ignorance. Nobody told us, we don't know. Everything is available on the website. And when the time comes to download the admit cards, they are not aware of what has to be done. So these are the problems that can come if you're not aware of this. So compulsory, it is compulsory to introduce art education as a period in every school, right? Which should involve all the 4 major physics here, that is music, dance, visual arts, and theater. It should be there, okay? So that has to be there. And now some schools are also going a step further using culinary art. Many are having home science, and they are doing a lot of experiments. I'll be showing some examples of how students have done in different schools, thanks to those teachers who shared those projects with me. So what is the need for art integration is, as I told you, moving away from the rote learning method. The rote learning method, we are sick and tired of that. Okay, we want to something else. And we want our examination to be more flexible, not on the basis of one exam, we are deciding who's good and bad. So we need to give more flexibility to our curriculum and how we are judging students. You must have heard about the 360-degree holistic report card that is going to come in the NEP. So that it's a very beautiful thing. You know, the student is not getting assessed only by the teachers. Right now that is happening. Okay, teacher is evaluating, this is what. 360-degree holistic evaluation means you are getting assessed not only by your teachers, there is a self-assessment form. Okay, how you know, you like when you are giving these in MNCs, multinational companies, for your promotions, you are given a form. Even in our schools, many schools do this. They give these forms where you analyze yourself. So self-assessment, peer assessment. You may think that you are something, but your peer may think something else. So you may think that he is a good student, he is a good leader. Peer assessment may be bad. Okay, he is selfish, he doesn't share things. So it's a totally different assessment. So when the entire 360-degree assessment takes place, we know the personality of that person. So this is something very beautiful that is going to come out. So examinations are going to become flexible. We are integrating experiential learning and art into our classrooms. Gone are the days when the teacher was on a pedestal, sage on the stage, they used to call. The teacher was on a pedestal, and Guru Shiksha Parampara, that the Shiksha is way below the teacher. Right now, the teacher is only a facilitator, that's all. A mentor who will guide the students to do better. The student already has access to what you're already speaking, right? The internet is such a powerful thing now. Chat GPT has come. You can find out all the answers from any reference book. Multiple ways of learning, online classes are available. Anything you can search on YouTube. So you are not the only person who is disseminating all this information. There is a lot of information coming from multiple sources. So therefore, it is important that we do something different in our classrooms. And that is why the CBS has introduced all this, right? So experiential learning. This is, if you are telling them something that when you kick a ball, it goes in the air, then it comes down. That is only theory. How many of us actually go to the field and tell them, okay, this is what is happening. When the ball is rolling, the speed or the velocity decreases because there is friction on the ground. Demonstration, the ball is kicked or the ball is thrown with some velocity. The higher it goes, with the same velocity, it will come down. So these are multiple ways in which children can be explained different things. So it is important that we explain all this by demonstration. That is experience, learning by doing. That is emphasis on doing is there so much. Okay. So emphasis has to be there on doing. So that's why in math, science and all that, there is a lot of practicals now introduced. Earlier in our times, there was no maths practical. Science practical used to start in 11 and 12, right? So yeah, I think there was some problem in the connection. So I'm back. So learning by doing is important because a direct experience, that is why we say that experience. When you are driving a car, you cannot read a book on driving a car and drive it. You cannot read a book on swimming and dive into the water. What is going to happen when you dive into the water? Will you be able to swim? No. Can you drive a car by reading a manual? No, we actually have to do it. So that is what experiential learning is. And the most common mistake we as teachers do is to dictate things. This is how it is. Okay. Especially I'm a maths teacher. I know 99%, including me, we used to follow this technology. This is the question. This is the answer. Do it. We never allowed our children to experiment. And now what is happening slowly, our methodology is also changing. Right? Same way in English or languages, or we have the habit of telling that this is the answer. We don't allow the child to actually come up with the answers. So this is what is happening in our society. This is what is happening in most of the schools, and that process has to change from rote memorization to what? To experiential learning. So it is a cycle. So first you are experiencing it. Then you are reflecting on the experience, then you generalize, and then you apply it into the concepts. So if I look at the entire experiential learning, that flow chart, you have to plan and identify what has to be done. Okay, it has to be a very flexible project. Flexibility means, some people insist use it here, use it there. So flexible seating has to be there because we are working in groups, right? And we have to understand the whole idea of what the project is. You have to explain what the expectations are and allow the students to make mistakes. There is nothing wrong in making mistakes. Don't give them the 100% guidelines. Okay, I want perfect work. Let them do whatever. Appreciate the work that they have given. See, everybody may not be a good artist. Everybody may not be a good, dramatist. But at the same time, you have to appreciate that that person is doing that, right? And then the assessment part comes. And this is an example of a student of mine. who has actually taken art integration into a different level altogether. So his models are presented all over the world, including France, Spain, Germany, Italy, in most of 32 countries actually. So what has he done is basic simple things we have taught him in school, that is of congruency and similar triangles. And now he's actually an architect, but now he has combined origami into architecture and he has become an origamist. So earlier what he used to do with paper folding, now he is doing with steel. Can you imagine this? So the kind of buildings that he makes now, sustainable development goals, the amazing buildings are made, amazing things are made. So his name is Ankan Mitra. You can Google search about him. He is one of the leading architects of India, and we are privileged to have people like this who are going out of the way to apply what they have learned. So a simple, you don't never know that the simple projects that you give brings out the hidden talents of so many people, because we have never done all this in our schools. So again, this is Ankan. Just to give you an idea of the stuff he does, amazing stuff. I mean, the stuff that you see is obviously taken him a lot of time. It's not that he is doing all this in one day, but this is just to show you that, what is it? Okay, so this was an origami workshop that he did in China. So you see from where people across all over the world came in, and this was the final product that was there. So I hope you are appreciating the amount of effort that has gone into this, and therefore this is just to show you what are the things, right? Then we go further, that is yeah, so these are some examples. This is a role play. How to make joyful learning. See, unless the learning happens joyfully, everything is so boring. Lecture method, one of the most boring methods of teaching, lecture method. Very boring, right? So when the children are involved, they are happy. So let's just look at the expression on their face. So this is a screenshot of a role play happening in the subject social science EVS in Pratibha Vidyalaya in New Delhi, right? So we should encourage children through role play. We can gender sensitivity, whatever topic is there, they can prepare on that and present it, right? What are the resources that are required for the project? Now, when you're talking about the project, please remember that everything should be environment friendly, because there is so much emphasis on sustainable development that we should avoid plastics or stuff which will degrade the environment. I hope you appreciate that. The resources should be very economical, because we have very poor students in our classes also. You tell them to buy this, that, it becomes a strain on the parents. It should be reusable, not that they have made something and then there is no use of that later. And it should be innovative and locally available, not that they are traveling 10-20 kilometers to get some stuff. So if you go to Kerala, you will find a lot of coconuts. Now Andamans will have a lot of shells and wood carvings. Sikkim used to have a lot of this handloom. So it depends on where you are. So assign projects depending on which state you are and what is available. Now in Delhi, if you tell them to make shells, it becomes a little difficult. Okay, they have to make some effort to get the shells. They may have to go to some specific markets for doing that. So it's important that all the resources are available near to you, environmental friendly, innovative, and locally they should be available, right? Now, this is another example of what projects are made, old news. What are the things that can be used for the project? So this is a scene from a school in Kerala. You must have seen this, that they have made something from the coconut leaf. Now, coconut leaf is not available in North. In some states, only coastal areas, you will have coconut. So they have made this. So what are the things that can be used? They have given these resources. Old magazines, newspaper can be used. Cloth, socks, dupatta, bangles, bindis, clips, buttons, coconut shells, pebbles, walnut shells, lids, bottle caps, all easily available. So you don't have to spend a lot of money in buying all this. Simple stuff that is already available to you can be seen, right? So This is another example. You know, in earlier time, there was no notebook and pencil. Everybody used to start by drawing on the ground. The mud used to be the blackboard. And see, the children are sitting on the ground, making that triangles and different shapes. So the learning happens in nature. Look at this another example. This is from Andhra Pradesh. The teacher himself is sitting with the students and using clay as a learning resource, making clay out of and making models out of this. So it's important that we are not directing, we are getting involved too, right? This is another example of children doing projects in the school walls. You've seen a lot of government schools in Delhi, they do this, even private schools. They are decorating, beautifying different parts of the city using coloring and painting and all. One school I visited the other day, they had mandala art all over their boundary wall, all done by the students, not by professionals, right? This is another puppetry. Puppetry is used. Okay, this is from a school in Bhopal. This is again coloring the walls. Different examples I'm giving that what can be done as art integration. Now, we are going into the specifics. Now, how do we plan all this? So first of all is that we should make groups. Okay, if you go through the circular, it is very evident that the circular says that we have to make groups. And every art experience, there should be a follow-up exercise. Okay, what is the aim and what did you learn from that? That's important. And then we have to assess. Now, the rubrics is not given. The rubrics is not given. So every teacher has the freedom to develop their own rubrics, right? And then we have to link the lesson with that. So I'm going to demonstrate all that shortly, that how we are going to do, how we are going to link that with examples. There has to be a format. This is just a suggested format that I have given. You can make your own suggestive format. It's very flexible. So the class should be mentioned that this is the class for which this project is. What is the theme of the chapter? So let me take an example. Suppose I'm starting with class 4 or 5 or class 1 to 8, an art integrated project if I want to take, right? So if I'm going to take an art integrated project, I said that you have to choose one topic and then integrate with all the subjects. So how is that possible? So let me take something like rainfall. Okay, we are studying about rainfall in class 4 or 5 or whatever, whichever class. I'm just giving an example. Now, how are we going to relate to all the subjects? Now, rainfall in science could be, why does rainfall occur, right? And what is the meaning of humidity? What are the 3 states of water? Then you are comparing between the pair states, that how much of rainfall occurs in both the states. All that comes in science. Now, when you're talking about languages, English, Hindi, or whichever languages that you're doing, they could write poems on that. They could write stories about that, a rainy day, or what happens, you know, imaginary situations can be given. So writing skills are tested, poetic skills are, or they could enact out something, and that is also possible. And what about maths? Now, when you're talking about maths, we can do bar graphs, histographs, frequency polygons, ogives, different types of graphs can be made to compare the data of the rainfall that is occurring, right? And you learn about all the statistics can be given there. So that can be maths. So like that. And social science, of course, the geography, how much of land is, how much of water is covered, what is the percentage of water in that state, how much rainfall occurs, you know, what are the crops that are grown there. You can, little more detail, you can go into the handicraft, the food that they eat, what are the crops grown during the rainy season. So I'm just given a random example of rainfall and connected it with God. Like that, you can take up any topic and integrate it, right? So any topic can be taken. So one topic has to be taken from 1 to 8 and done, not 5 different projects. So that is the, so theme has to be given, the class, then the art form. Is it a visual art or performing arts, or is it a combination of all that we have to do, right? And then the time bound, you have to submit this in 10 days or 20 days or 1 month, all that, right? So this is clear, I hope. Then we go to, yeah. Yes. So these are some examples of connecting with nature. Okay, so I just collected some pictures. You know, in many schools, they are making models of frustum of cones, cone, cylinder, all that they're making. But in nature itself, so many 3D and 2D are available. Playing with numbers, you know, there are these locks which open with a certain number. So when you give a question and the answer is, let's say, 325. So the lock is going to open only at that 325. So they'll get excited that who's going to, crack the code. The lock will open at only if you solve correctly and get the answer. So all these games can be invented. You can have antaksharis and atlas and crosswords in any subject. This can be done, right? You can give them crosswords. This is also part of art integration, where you give hints and then they have to fill this. And Antakshari Atlas, you know that, no? So if you're doing, whatever is the ending letter, you have to say another term of that. For example, in math, suppose you are doing with, let's say you are doing angles, okay? Angles, ending with S, then ending with S, so they have to tell something with S, so it could be side. Then ending with E, so you have to tell something with E. So that is called a maths Antakshari, right? So that can be done in any subject. Then going further, suppose you are teaching in a class, motion, velocity, speed, circumference, all these are basics of mathematics, right? And you can actually bring in a cycle or something to create the excitement, or you can take the kids out in a cycle stand and show them, okay, this is the wheel of the cycle. This is called demonstration. Like, this is the circumference, this is the diameter, this is the radius. Yeah, all that can be demonstrated. When you demonstrate, the learning becomes more effective, right? The learning is more effective. So whenever you are carrying a prop in the class, they all get excited. What has sir or ma'am brought today? Because that gives them a sense of excitement. Take them out also. If the school management is allowing, then these are very important things, right? Okay. Then encourage cooperative learning. Till now what was happening was there was so much of competition that everybody wanted to excel. They will not share ideas. Now with the group projects, they're learning to work together. I think man is a social being. We cannot remain in an island and survive. It's important that when we work, we need networking. Today, tomorrow, the future belongs to people who can network. People who can network and communicate, the future belongs to them. There are many of our toppers who don't know how to communicate. They don't network because they're so, they're introverts. They are just studying and doing things. That's very good if you crack some. But in life, what happens is that you need that networking. You need to connect with people. You need to build rapport. You need to build relationships. That's total humanity all about. It's not just about topping the IIT and then coming out, and then ultimately what happens, he's not able to face the family situations. There are so many situations which I can share, go on, and with my experience of students who have topped their classes but ended up their lives because something went wrong in their personal lives. So this is what happens. So cooperative learning is important. When you work in a group, you will realize that there are all kinds of people in the world. How much ever good you do, there will be some people who will say negative things. Okay. Now today 100 of you joined here. Now another 200 people who are waiting outside will be abusing me, right? That sir didn't allow us. So what is my fault in that, right? So, but still I have to face it. I am used to all this. So whenever you do something, there will be negative. So you don't have to worry about all that, right? So we have to keep on doing the work that we are doing. As long as we know that it's important, we keep on doing, right? We have to think out of the box. Out of the box means not the regular stuff. Think out of the box. So I'm just sharing you some stuff which teachers across India have done, which will give you some idea. So this is Rangori, rangometry, like they have made shapes just by paper folding. So this is again improving your critical thinking. You are just giving them ideas about tangrams and how paper folding is done, and they come up with amazing ideas. So this guy made a robo out of cubes. You see, all no help, no professional help made by students. So this was on Ganesh Chaturthi, students from Maharashtra, they made by paper folding this Ganesh ji. And then this is a cat, mouse and all that stuff they make. This is all examples of how you can use simple paper to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, so there is a code. Yeah, the meeting is going to end. And so you have to join after 5 minutes with the same password and ID, right? After 5 minutes. Yes, Archana ma'am, thank you for reminding us. The protocol is that when the meeting ends, you have to join with the same password and ID. All those who are interested to join, they can join back. If those who are not interested can see the recording, because this will go on for another 40 minutes in the next session. Okay. Right. So STEM projects. Now we know that STEM, those who don't know what STEM is, most of you know, it is science, technology, engineering, and math. So they are integrating this. Now they're also telling about STEAM. STEAM is they're also introducing the arts into the science. So it is not that arts and science are totally different. Now they're integrating STEM projects. So what is the STEM project? Take up real life situation and try to solve that. That's the best thing. If you are finding some problem in your school or society, ask the students to find the solution out of it. I think there cannot be a better project than that. So if you think that there is a lot of waste products that people are spreading around, then try to do something out of it, best out of waste, or convert into biodegradable stuff, or recycling projects can be given, and so on, right? So we are almost going to finish this. So therefore, I'm going to join back in the next session and give you further. So this is the life cycle of a butterfly. Isn't it beautiful? With orange, they have done, and 2 chilies, some pea. They have arranged this life cycle of a butterfly, showing pupa, caterpillar, okay, the eggs, and the butterfly. See the demonstration that means the child has understood properly that what is happening and how the stages of the butterfly has been done with natural